My name is Pastor Carl Hudson. I'm excited to be doing what we actually call the 7 elements, the 7 principles, which sits in between element number 6 and the 7th element. The reason I'm excited about it is because this could be actually called the greatest discovery of all times. Wisdom is really what we're talking about, and there's 7 principles. Let me just give you a couple of things on wisdom so that you'll know what it's going to be about. It's taken from Proverbs chapter 8, and actually wisdom is actually doing the teaching in this one. Solomon is actually doing the teaching in most of Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, but when it comes to chapter 8, actually wisdom steps up and actually calls himself, I wisdom. And so this is what we call the second pillar to the 7 elements. There's 7 elements that teach us how to develop wealth, protect it, and pass it on our children's children. But the very beginning that holds up these 7 elements is what we call pillar number 1. And pillar number 1 is where God has a plan for you. And He has a plan for you. You can put your name there. Then when you go to finish the 6th element, then the pillar that props up number 7 and the rest of the 6 is pillar number 2. And pillar number 2 is actually the 7 principles of wisdom. Now, let me just kind of break this down a little bit. Out of Proverbs 8 and 22, this actually allows you to know that this is the greatest of discovery of all times, is when you discover wisdom. I've pastored for quite some time. I've studied the scriptures for quite some time, but I've really never had a handle on wisdom. Now, that's not, a whole lot, because you probably haven't either, but Solomon had neither. But when Solomon got ready to take over the kingdom from David, God asked Solomon, what would you like me to do for you? And Solomon said, if you would give me wisdom so that I will know how to govern and rule your people. And God basically stated that this is the best thing you could have asked. Now, Job also talks about wisdom, and Job asked the question, where can wisdom be found? And this is in the 28th chapter of the book of Job. He says, where can wisdom be found? And so this 8th chapter is going to give you the teaching on wisdom. In Proverbs 8 and 12, wisdom calls herself I wisdom. And that's how we know that it's written by I wisdom. And you'll discover in that I wisdom is actually Jesus. Proverbs 8 and 17, it says, if you seek wisdom, you will become wise. You have to seek it. We don't teach it. We should have a class in our churches, but we don't teach it. But if you seek wisdom, wisdom says you'll become wise. Number 4, our wisdom bestows wealth and makes your treasure full. So the most important thing, now think about this, the most important thing that we say to people is to go to college and get a college degree, get an education. And then what we basically say to them is, because when you get this college degree, you will be able to make more money. Well, God teaches a little different than that. Wisdom is education. Matter of fact, wisdom is kind of like a 3-legged stool. It has one leg, that's knowledge, and that's the beginning. You have to have knowledge. If you don't know and you don't have the knowledge, you're not in the game. Then you have to have understanding. There's a lot of people that know, but they don't have understanding. And then the 3rd leg on that stool is wisdom. And you can imagine taking one of those legs off, it's going to fall. You have to have all 3. Wisdom ushers you into the spirit realm. Jesus is actually wisdom. So wisdom is more valuable than gold. It's more valuable than education. And it's just amazing to me that we do not teach our children wisdom. Well, let me do a conclusion on this one. 8 and 23, I was appointed from eternity. So wisdom is speaking. And then wisdom tells you who he is, or who she is. I was appointed from eternity. when God created everything. Now, eternity has no beginning, no end. And so wisdom was right there in the beginning. I think one of the most exciting things you can do, of course, is take the course, go through the 7 elements. But the 7 elements include the 7 principles of wisdom. But if you start reading the book of Proverbs has about 31 chapters. So that means you read one day of the month. So on the 1st, you would read chapter 1. On the 15th, you'd read chapter 15. And as you read it, you're reading it over and over. And as you begin to read it over and over, your eyes are going to become open. And you're going to begin to see things. And then you're going to learn how to apply it to the things that take place in your life. So again, welcome to this introduction. And please, after you hear the introduction, go and begin to get the study on the 7 elements of, or should I say the 7 principles of wisdom. Thank you.